joining us right now. Israeli government spokesperson Tal Heinrich with us, and also former executive director for Iranian Americans for Liberty, Brian Leib. He's also a NewsMax columnist. Welcome into you both. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
I'd like to get your reaction, Tal, to some comments that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says while the ground operation we know is ongoing in Khan Yunis, there's been some significant developments. He says that the military would have to retain open-ended security control over Gaza long after the war ends. Can you expand on some of the comments by Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Of course. So we said that the goal of this war, a war that we were dragged into, is to eliminate the Hamas terrorist regime in Gaza, to make sure that Gaza will never pose a terror threat to Israel again, and to bring back all hostages home. Now, after we managed to root out Hamas as the ruling governance body and as the powerful military wing that it was, the one that attacked us on October 7th, we want to make sure that there's no resurgence of terrorism in the Gaza Strip. For that end, Israel will have to maintain some security responsibility on the ground for a certain period of time to make sure that we don't see Gaza posing a terror threat to Israel again. That's what the Prime Minister meant.
Yes, and obviously we could be a long ways away from that. The fighting is intense right now. We know the seawater tunnels has started, one of the tactics the IDF is using to get the terrorists out from that extensive web of tunnels where the hostages may be. Also, Brian, you know, Hezbollah, the Houthi rebels, still big concerns here for the Iranian proxies. We learned today, just a short time ago, that the USS Mason shot down another Houthi drone today in the Red Sea. We heard over the weekend the USS Carney, had to shoot down 3 drones launched from Yemen. So clearly, the fears of escalation are very real. And we know that this administration has done nothing but appease Iran.
You're exactly correct. This administration from day one has done everything they possibly can to indirectly and directly strengthen the Islamic Republic of Iran. And when we look at the Houthis out of Yemen and other parts of the Middle East, Bianca, it's worth noting that the Houthis, much like Hamas, much like Hezbollah, would be nothing more than a ragtag terrorist organization if it were not for the material, logistical, and financial support that they receive from the Islamic Republic of Iran. So yes, these terrorist groups are the ones that are carrying out these aggressions right now, but it all comes back to the Islamic Republic of Iran. And final point on the Houthis, Bianca, you know, one of President Trump and Mike Pompeo's last actions that they took was listing the Houthis as a U.S. State Department foreign terrorist organization. And wouldn't you know that President Biden, a.k.a. President Appeasement, one of the first things he did was take the Houthis off of the foreign terrorist organization list. And as I sit here now, they are still not back on that list.
That's right. And I heard they're trying to now put them back on. But at this point, what does it matter? The damage is done. We're here. October the 7th has happened. Tal, I want to give you the final word, as we know that, obviously, as you alluded to, we want to see all the hostages returned. We learned, sadly, 15 of 137 are confirmed dead yesterday from Israel's government. Is there anything you can share on that front and what may be happening?
You see, the only thing that Hamas responds to is pressure, military pressure, and also the diplomatic pressure that we exerted in various ways. The one that brought to this outline by which we saw the release of some hostages. But we will continue with the military pressure. We will continue to hit them hard to eliminate their commanders, because that's the only thing they respond to. So if we want to see more hostages being released, the best path to do so is the combination of these two pressures. But make no mistake, we also want to make sure that we can guarantee to the hostages who came back home that they can be safe. So we will continue to operate in the north and the south until we eliminate all the perpetrators and the masterminds behind the October 7th massacre.
Well, Tal Heinrich and Brian Leib, I really appreciate both joining me today. It's certainly a pleasure to get your analysis on all the moving parts today. A lot is happening. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You bet.